A little bit of disappointing news for UFC London. We heard last week Darren Till off the card against Jack Manson in that co-main event. We've seen that Chris Curtis has obviously been shoehorned into that co-main event against Jack Manson. But disappointing news for Darren. Hopefully he can get himself fit and we'll see him before the end of the year.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can see him now, can't we? Isn't he about to join the block party? Haven't we got him patched in down there? I'd like to hear from the main man himself if he's available. There he is. Not doing anything illegal at all.
Why you get crashing the show, man? We were going to talk about you rather than to you.
How's things, brother? You look happy, but obviously disappointed.
Well, as the famous Robin Williams said, people who smile the most are usually the most depressed.
Putting a brave face on it. When did you know, Darren, that it wasn't going to happen for you?
I've just been fighting, Nick. Like, it's so funny. Like, people are just so like everyone who's ever seen me fight. Hello. Everyone who's ever seen me train or like whatever, mate. You've been down the gym many a times, Nick. You know what we put ourselves through in carbon, and just like I've just been fighting with myself for a while. Even when I was out doing comms at camp and that with me knee, and I've been fighting against it. And it actually wasn't me who made the call on the fight. It was like other people who just like decided to speak to the UFC on my behalf and were like, listen, Darren still thinks he's fighting and that, but he's not, because he's fucking, like, his legs fucked and that, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you went into the Brunson fight with that injury.
Yeah.
And that, listen, undoubtedly that played a part in your performance that night. So yeah. I like the fact that people around you, because I know what you're like, you'll fight anyone tomorrow. Yeah. I like the fact that people around you have gone, no, listen, you know what? Let's get back to being 100% before you get back inside the octagon.
Yeah. Sorry. You know what, mate? Blame Tom Aspinall for the Derek Brunson fight. It was actually it wasn't his fault. Me and him were training, and I haven't ever really gone into much detail about it because obviously, what's there to say about an injury? If you still fight, you still obviously think you can win the fight. So, there's no excuses on my part. But it's been a year now since the fight, and I don't want to. I've said it loads of times, man. I hate saying shit like this, but I don't want to disrespect Derek in any way. But if I was even 80% fighting fit for that fight, it wouldn't have got out the first round. I know that. Look at the fight before. I know I lost my fight before. It's just so frustrating because of people saying, "Oh, you're coming off fucking whatever, how many losses? It's 2 losses or something." I'm like, mate, fucking look who I'm fighting. I'm fighting the best there is, and one more step up in gears in the Whittaker fight, and I won that fight. I'd be in a different position right now. It's just so frustrating, man. I just know my potential, and everyone around me knows it as well. Like, even Curtis, who stepped in for me against Jack the Joker, I trained with him loads in Vegas, and he was like saying to me, we like trained one day and we wrestled, and he was like, wow, you're wrestling so much. And I was like, mate, don't go off my wrestling off one fight. Go and watch every single one of my fights before that. I fought fucking Olympic wrestlers in Argentina and Brazil, and the guy couldn't even touch me to take me down. Like, so it's just so frustrating at this point in my career now, man. I'm happy for the way English MMA is going. I'm like to see all these up and comers, Tom, Paddy, Muhammad, all these guys. I'm so happy to see them, in the position they're in. But it's so fucking frustrating for me at the same time because I know my potential. I'm not down on anyone, but I'm the fucking best out there, and I know that. And it's just such a fucking depressing time for me at the moment because, like, listen, trolls don't bother me, but it's just these fucking comments and all these even fighters, and they're like, oh, I fucking pulled out, and I'm like, mate, come to the gym and I will fucking take you out. It's just so frustrating right now for me, really is. I'm just at a fucking low point, but you know what? I've like took this little bit of mentality on, like, now that I'm in, like, I feel like I'm in a Tyson Fury moment, like remember when he was like going through that depressed stage, and for like a year or two, and I feel like that's where I'm at now. Obviously I'm not drinking and taking drugs, that's not my way, but I still feel like that, and it's honestly, you know, I'm not about this new age of like, oh, I'm depressed and mental health and all that bullshit. I come from a different era of that, but I just feel it's just fucking so. It just makes you feel so fucking low. Shit like this, man.
Mate, it's hard to hear you speak like this, obviously, because we always are around you and you're so up and you're so upbeat and what have you. But I think a lot of fans, and listen, people in the media as well, you kind of forget you're a real person at the end of the day. This is your career. This is your real career. And this must be, as you've just said, incredibly frustrating when your body's not doing what your brain knows it can do. What is physically, what's the prognosis going forward? How long are you looking at before you believe that you'll be in a situation where you can seriously start talking about having a fight?
Do you know what, mate? Do you know what I want to do? I want to look after me. Like, it's all good and well, me going to the gym and breaking myself and training. Like, I've always had that mentality where I don't have that thing of, you know, a lot of fannies today, they wake up and they won't train as well as they think they should have if they haven't had the right breakfast or shit like that, or they haven't got the right pair of shorts. And I don't think like that. I just get up and think, who am I going to kill today? How am I going to get better? Like, and that's worked for a long time. And I've done 20 years of it, mate. I'm 29 now, right? And I swear to God, like, I've always had this thing as like, if I'm not going to go to the gym and give me all 100%, I just won't go. So every day I've had to give it 100%. And like, I've just fucking, like, even when I was in Sweden the other week with Kamzat and that, like, he was like, he knew there was something up with me and he was just like, brother, come on. And I was like, mate, I'm just going to box and this and that. And like the whole team there, because I feel like they're my second team now. You know, obviously I've got Team Carbon here and that. And I feel like they're my second team. They really took me under the wing. And obviously we've got a budding partnership with Blockasset. But it's just like, I don't even want to think about fighting right now. Listen.
Good, mate. Listen, this is where you need to be at. You need to get yourself right. Listen, right? and this is legit chat. What goes on in between your ears is the most important thing. Get everything right. Nobody wants to see you going out there half-assed, man. People want to see you going out there being you, being the legit guy that you are. And you owe it to yourself. You don't owe it to me. You don't owe it to Nick. You don't owe it to any fan. You don't owe it to anybody else. You owe it to yourself to get yourself 100% and then go and do what you believe you're capable of going to go and do.
So true, mate. Like, it's nice listening to that as well. It's funny, you know, like, I'm 29, man, and I'm not even in the prime of my career, and I've got 10 years left to make me mark on the sport, and I know listen, and all that comes with all this hype and all that. I know one thing, mate, and I can fucking fight, and I know I can be the fucking best, and I can make a real dent in this whole world of like fighting. But just right now is not my time, and I just need to sit back and understand that.
Yeah.
So it's just, the only thing with it, mate, is it just fucking, you know, I'm not a crying man or anything, but it fucking just frustrates me so much, because like,
I can imagine.
Just fucking, I'm so pissed off with it, and it's like, I've heard people say, oh, you fucking, it doesn't bother me, but it does. Anyone who says the trolls don't bother you is a liar. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking give it back to the cunts, but some little comments don't half get you. Sometimes like, oh, retire now. What do you mean retire, mate? What the fuck are you harping on about? I'm not even in me fucking, I haven't even dented me prime yet. I know where I'm at, but you know, you just have to take it, don't you, mate? You just have to take this shit on the chin.
Yeah, you do.
There is certainly an element of that, absolutely. And you know, because the world we live in at the moment, social media is so accessible, and you've used social media to your advantage, of course you have, and that's one of the reasons why you've got such a big following and why you've been a headliner in the UFC for so long, because you can fight, but you can also sell a fight, and that's a quality that not a lot of fighters have, and that's why the UFC, I guarantee, will give you as much time as you possibly need or want to get yourself right. But I think right now, some time away, probably the worst thing you could do now is come to UFC London next week. As much as I want to see you there, it sounds like you should just stay at home, man, and just have a little break away from things altogether.
Yeah, there's not much to say, Nick. You know what's the most you know, like I keep reminiscing on shit. Like, you know, do you all remember like the first lockdown to the third one? Like the first was great. Like everyone was out in the sun and I had a quad and I was just out every day. And then Colin rang me and he was like, let's get ready for Whittaker. It was like literally me and Colin in the gym every day. And then my friend Gillies was bringing sparring partners down. It was brilliant. Like, it was so good. Colin like was saying every day we're going to do Khabib style, strength conditioning. Like, everything was great. And then I remember on the third lockdown, I got a chef in to live with me and my uncles. I didn't live with me bird or my kids. Mm-hmm. And I swear to God, I'd just go to and from the gym every day. I stayed on my diet relentlessly. And it was the best I've ever been. And I actually knew inside me I was going into that fight with Marvin. I'm not disrespecting Marvin. Listen, he's higher up than me now. He's on a fucking totally different path. You know, he'd probably see this and say some angry shit as he usually does because he's got no brains. But I would have went in that fight and stopped him 100% in the first round because he's just a monk who comes forward. He just wouldn't have been able to take my shots. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a cardio machine. He is a monster. And I do respect him as a fighter. But there's just no way to cope with me at that point where I was in my life. I was so fucking fit. There was nothing to do. It was just chewing back the gym. My diet was on point. And then 2 weeks before, it's like I broke my collarbone. It's like, it's just like, and these people must just be thinking, oh, this Till's fragile. No, mate, I'm not fragile. Like, bring 90% of fighters all around the world to our gym. Bring them all, and you'll see what time it is. It's like, it's fucking brutal, man. And it's just fucking got to the point. It's fucking, my body's just endured as much as I can take at this point.
But like you've just said, you need to get to a point now where you can accept that, because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You know what you can do, but not being able to realize what you can do is the thing that's frustrating you. But you need to get to a point where you can be at peace with that for this period of time, get that body back to 100%, of which you'll then be able to sort out the things that are now going on inside your head. And then you can get back to doing what Darren Till does, man. Stop. You don't have to, like I've just said about the pressure thing, right? You don't owe anything to anybody. Like, when it's UFC London, the majority of fans automatically think Till should be on this card. Till's on this card because you're the guy.
I gave the main event slot up to Tom.
Well,
I was like,
we've all been at we were all at UFC London. We've all been at the UFC Liverpool shows, mate. We've all seen that. But you're now putting extra pressure on yourself. You're compounding it. Let it go. It's all right. There'll be a period of every dog has his fucking day, man. And there'll be a period of time in the next 2 to 3 years where you get to bark, and then everybody will know. But you've got to be at peace with that moment now.
Of course, I totally agree. Like, fucking police behind me, just my luck. Can we just let these go? Right. I'm in park. I'm not causing anything to anyone, am I? God.
This could be a block party first, an arrest mid-show.
Mate, we're getting deep and they're interrupting. What's going on?
I know.
Do you want us to leave you to it?
It's just the usual day in Liverpool. A young lad in an RS6. It doesn't really go down well. Oh, he's only on his own. He drove past shit house. It's do you know what, mate? I always, I enjoyed these type of chats, and I'm always a guy who's always told the honest truth, no matter what it be, and that's just it. At the end of the day, I'm just I don't mind saying it, and I don't want anyone to say, "Oh no, you're not." I don't mind admitting and being comfortable that I'm on a bad point in my career and in my life, and I don't want anyone to turn around and go, "No, you're not. Look what you've got. You've got this, and you've got this house." Oh, yeah, all right, sound. I know I'm at a bad point, and I'm comfortable enough to say that and accept it. So I think sometimes when you're thriving them in like this situation I'm in now, I think I'll come out on top, and I know I always will. So I remember you text me, Nick, after me fight, and was like, your journey was never going to be the easiest. You'll be the champ one day. We all believe in it. I was like, that message really. I never replied to it. Obviously, I wasn't speaking at all at the point, but it was a nice message.
Yeah, but I meant it because I've known this about you your entire life, and speaking to your family, your friends, to your coaches, they all say the same thing. Darren Till is never, ever going to be a straight road. It was always going to be a long and winding road, because that's the way your life is. It's crazy. It's like a roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Right now, quite clearly, you're down. But I think anyone that's followed your career for as long as I have knows that what comes after the down, it's an up. You just need to cut yourself a bit of slack and go, you know what? As you said before, right now is not your time. Your main focus now is to get yourself relaxed, get comfortable in your own skin, get fit, and then have your time. Simple. No one's going anywhere. The fans aren't going nowhere. The UFC's going nowhere. Your coaches and all your support systems going nowhere. Everyone's still here waiting for you. You just go and do you, man.
Yeah, man.
Listen, Nick's getting the alien next week if you fancy getting on the lash with us, mate. He's
Mate, the way I'm feeling, I'll be down there on the actually, no, I'm not gonna say it.
No, you don't. No.
On the brandies, he was gonna say. On the brandies.
I've got to remember that I'm on my own show. You know, come on.
That's it. Behave yourself. Listen, where do we send this invoice for this counselling session, by the way? Where do you want it? Or do we send it to the lads?
Send it to www.idon'tgiveafuck.com. It's, you know, it is what it is, mate. It's, as I say, I'm not looking for any fucking sorries or thingies like that. And I'm not one of these guys who's going to come out and be like, oh, battled with this. I'm just rolling with the low times, comfortable in them. And, you know, I think when you admit that certain factor, you know, I think a lot of people should look at this and be like, oh, you know what? I'm actually not depressed. I'm just having a down day. You know, I don't consider myself now battling with anything or depressed. I just consider myself at a low point in my life and my career. And I'm accepting the fact.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's okay not to be okay. Do you know what I mean? That's all right. That's part of life.
Such a quote, that. That's such a fucking statement, that, man. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Deep, mate. Listen, Nick's got chickens now, you know. If you need some free eggs or anything
like
that,
any eggs,
get round to Nick's house. He's got some chickens in.
I'll be at the Boozer by Nick's having a little pint with him.
Good lad.
Listen, shout, kid. Anytime.
Mate, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you jumping on.
Mate, lovely to see you. Keep smiling.
Stay well. Stay out of bother, and we will see you soon, mate. Take care.
You'll see me Tuesday, and then I'll probably, you know.
Stop telling everybody that you're going to come down Tuesday, right?
We're supposed to be a secret
competition here. No, we're not telling anybody who's rocking up.
Sorry, I'm coming. Usually.
See you later, lad. Ta-da.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Top man.
There you go. That's what we love on the Black Party. You never know who's going to pop up next, man. But that was a real conversation, and I've known Darren, you know, well over a decade, and to hear him speaking like that, he's hitting there. You know, and that for him to share like that's mental. You know, he never really shows his cards like that. But
he's not the only athlete like that, man. He's not the only athlete that feels like that. But he's not frightened to say it. You know, I wish more people would speak like that because you know what I mean. I'm sure there's a lot of people suffering in silence with the dark times. They don't have to. So I appreciate him coming on and. Listen, it's his platform, so I appreciate him coming on and having a little bit of a crack with us about it, and obviously outing like that. And I've no doubt that next week he'll do him the world of good.
Buy Block now to take part in the Athlete Token Revolution. Block Assets, connecting fans with athletes.